Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be about all things microblading, and I will be answering 10 of the most commonly or frequently asked questions. So if you've always been interested in getting your microblading done, or if there's always just been questions that you have regarding the process, then please keep on watching. Alright, so let's jump into the first question. What is microblading? Now, microblading is a semi-permanent and manual form of cosmetic tattooing. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so the first thing, semi-permanent. This means that your microblading is not something like old permanent makeup that is gonna last you a lifetime. And in my opinion, that is a good thing, because if the microblading techniques change or you are not as fond of your microblading as you were in the past, then it means that you won't be 80 and have the exact same brows that you had when you were 20 years old. I personally don't feel that it's good for any type of ink to be on your face for the next 40 or 50 years. So in my opinion, semi-permanent is a great thing. Then when it comes to manual, so with microblading, a machine is not used to do the microblading. It is a manual handheld tool that is used. And that is basically to mimic a hair stroke like appearance. So in other words, to make your microblading look as natural as possible. Now the second question is, how does the microblading process and healing work? With regards to the microblading process, I do draw on the shape of your brow first. So in other words, just to show you what the shaping will look like, please just note that the shaping of the brow, so the way I draw your brow on, your brow won't be as thick as the shaping looks, but I will link a video in here for you guys to see exactly how the shaping and the blading process is done. With regards to the microblading healing process, it is a super strange process, but this I always explain to my clients, as well as their aftercare, which is very important. So on their first consultation, I will explain this to my clients, but in short, your brows will definitely look darker the first few days, as we choose the color on how it is healed, and not the color that you walk out with today. After that, your brows will start to scab. Now, this is the time when all of the clients get very anxious, but this is definitely a super normal step of the healing process. Now, after the scabbing has been completed, you will see that some of your strokes might reappear after a few weeks, but your brows will definitely look patchy up until the stage that you have done your touch-up. So the healing process is definitely something that you have to be super patient with, and you'll actually only be able to see the final results after you've done your microblading touch-up. Question 3 is, how long does the microblading process take? Now, usually I take 2.5 hours with my clients, but that is including the anesthetic. So I usually leave the anesthetic on for about 20 to 30 minutes, after which I start with the shaping or the drawing on of the brows, and then we proceed to the actual microblading part. So the blading part doesn't take as long, but the process, the whole process of the microblading takes about 2.5 hours, including your anesthetic. The next question is, who should get their microblading done? Now, this really is a question that I get a lot from my clients, either asking me if they don't have any hairs, will the microblading look bad? Or alternatively, if they do have a lot of hairs, will the microblading look strange? And the answer for both of those questions are no. Microblading truly is something that is for everyone. It does make a big difference, even for those clients that do have a lot of hairs. Shaping wise, it really does make a big difference. So even if you have a lot of hair, you can still get your microblading done, especially when you aren't satisfied with your shape. Clients that have less hairs or that have no hairs, microblading on them looks spectacular. This is the amazing thing about microblading, is because of the fact that it mimics your hair strokes. So in other words, it looks as natural as your own hair strokes. This really is something that looks great on anyone and everyone. So there isn't just a specific group of people that should get their microblading done. Microblading can really be for anyone if you are insecure about your brows, or if you're not satisfied with your brows, whether it being the shape or the volume or the fullness of your brow. Microblading is definitely something that you can consider, and it's definitely a long-term investment. Fifth question. Now this is probably the most asked question, and that is, does microblading hurt? Now this is a super difficult question to answer because all clients and their experience regarding microblading differ. I do, however, apply a topical anesthetic for all my clients beforehand, so that definitely takes some of the discomfort away. I do get clients that say that they feel absolutely nothing, and then for other clients it is more uncomfortable. Now, I've never had a client say that it's super painful for them. Usually, however, my clients do describe it as more of a scratchy and irritating feeling rather than a painful feeling. So I've never had anyone get up and say that, you know, it's too painful for them. So that is definitely not something that you have to be worried about. However, it is a little bit irritating or a little bit uncomfortable, but as I say, for some clients I've had them say that they don't feel a thing. But in general, the process really is fairly tolerable depending on your pain threshold. So question 6 is, do I shave or wax all of your natural hairs off? And the answer for this question is a firm no. Your own hairs will stay put, so I won't be waxing any of them off and I won't be shaving any of them off. I do, however, shape your brow while we are doing the microblading. So some of the hairs that are outside of your shape, I will tweeze out. But for the most part, your natural hairs stay exactly where they are. Now, question 7 was sent through by a Facebook user, and I'm going to read that one for you. And the question is it true that even though you did microblading, that when you have blonde or light hair, you still have to tint your brows often? This is actually a super interesting question. How I always do my microblading is I match the color of the ink that I am using as closely as possible to your natural hair and skin color. And this is because if you do use an ink that is too dark, not only for that person's skin color, but also for their natural hair color, then the color can look very strange. So I always prefer to keep my microblading strokes as naturally and as close as possible to your hair color and to your skin color, so that even if you're not wearing makeup and your brows aren't tinted, that they blend in with your natural hair color. However, if you do have, say for example, gray hairs or super blonde hairs, then it might still be necessary for you to tint your brows, depending on how dark you want your brows to be. Now, I've always told my clients as well that if you do tint your brows, your microblading strokes will get a little bit darker as well, because the strokes are located underneath your skin. And sometimes when you do tint your brows, it does tint a little bit of your skin as well. So the strokes will go a little bit darker with the tint as well. But if you do have blonde or gray hairs and they don't blend with the color of the ink that was used, then it might still be necessary for you to tint your brows. Question 8 is, can microblading ruin your own hair follicles? Now, this question actually has two answers. The first answer is no. If microblading is done correctly, it will not damage your own hair follicles. Microblading is done in the more superficial parts of your skin. So if it is done correctly, then it won't penetrate deep enough to damage your hair follicles. But the other answer to this question can also be yes. Because if you do go to a technician that uses an improper technique or that has had inadequate training, then yes, they can damage your hair follicles. So if you're getting your microblading done, it's super important to do research on the technician that you're going to, on the technique that they're using, on the training they had. So doing your research when you're getting your microblading done is really super important, not only to prevent damage being done, but also for you to be happy when you're getting your microblading done. Question 9 is, how many sessions do you need and how long does the microblading last? So first and foremost, you have your initial microblading session. 6 to 10 weeks after that, you need to get a touch-up done. Your first touch-up is extremely important. This will not only fix the patchiness of your brow after the first session, but it will also make your microblading last longer in the long term. If you did have your initial session and your touch-up 6 to 10 weeks after, your microblading will last anything between 1 to 3 years, and that usually depends on the client's skin type as well as how good the ink took, and very important, how well they followed their aftercare instructions, which is super important. But usually the microblading lasts anything between 1 to 3 years before it starts fading and before you want another touch-up session done. The 10th and last question, and there's a reason that I saved this question for last, is can you work over old permanent makeup or microblading? Now again, this is a super hard question to answer, but most of the time the answer unfortunately is no. Especially with my type of technique. If you guys have followed my work on Instagram or Facebook, you would see that the specific type of technique that I use is very natural and it does look like natural hair strokes. And this is the reason why usually I can't work over old permanent makeup or microblading that clients have had done. But the best explanation that I usually give to my clients is, let's say your old permanent makeup is a Koki pen mark, and then my microblading technique is a pencil. And if you try to make pencil marks over a Koki pen, you won't be able to see them. So in other words, you'll only damage your skin further because you are making strokes that won't be visible, obviously depending on how dark your previous permanent makeup is. But the other problem that you are sitting with is if I use my ink and my color and I put it over some old permanent makeup, then you have no idea which color will come out. And that is obviously very problematic. So usually when a client comes to me with old permanent makeup, I will assess the old permanent makeup and the color thereof, and based on that I will decide whether I can work over it with my microblading technique. But 99.9% of the times I can't help clients with old permanent makeup or old microblading, and that is because the risks really just outweigh the advantages. Okay guys, so that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any other questions, then please feel free to comment down below on this video and I'll be glad to answer them for you. And also remember to subscribe to my channel if you are interested in seeing more videos like these, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!